Okay, so we are gonna get right into it. Everyone wants to know, what can I get for my budget? And I've heard all types of budgets. So I'm actually gonna share with you a screen, my computer screen, showing you exactly how much things cost and ultimately what you can really get. Now, let's start with the first one. The first one is, a lot of people want to know, well, I have about a $500 budget. Now, let me just say this as a disclaimer right away. $500 is not going to get you very far. I'm sorry, but that's just the honest truth. You can get stuff and you can work with it, but it's not going to produce necessarily the greatest results, depending on how you're already doing your production. If you are, kind of filming off a really old cell phone or something like that, and this is your starting step, then yeah, this is great. If you're, have a modern cell phone, like here, I have an iPhone 11 Pro Max. It does 4K. It does a pretty good job. Honestly, $500, you can maybe go towards sound. Pretty simply, like I'd either put sound or some kind of lighting. And I'm just going to show you right here. There is a light that I do recommend. And it is fairly cheap. As you can see here, it is on sale right now, actually for $157. And this is on Canadian currency. This light's great. You plug it in. You right here, $157. Yep, on Prime. So if you're a Prime member, even better. However, the thing with cheap lights is you have to remember that despite its, its price tag and its value, that you could run into problems. And if you do run into problems, I mean, almost never will you get any type of service for these lights, unfortunately. But it's the price you pay. I mean, and if it works great. So it is something to keep in mind. So you got something like this. You stick this on a stand, right? So let's add this to cart. I'll make a little fake cart on here, right? So let's do, let's go back. Let's add in a softbox, because you're gonna need one of those. That makes your light really soft and makes you look better, ultimately. And then we're gonna add in a light stand. Okay. Amazon Basics, do not buy these cheap $20 light stands. If you want your light to topple over the smallest little vibration and break whatever it is you have on there, then be my guest. But do not, I warn you, do not buy these Amazon Basic light stands. Okay, so let's look at something like these newer ones. Heavy duty light stand, $30. I mean, honestly, I have a couple of these and they work kind of fine. I don't know if this is the specific one that I have. It's probably better off to get the stainless steel ones. I mean, the $60. Okay, so we're gonna add that in there. We're just gonna get one for now. Okay. Now, if I go into my cart and I'm going to take off this $500 piece of thing I have here, I like to fake buy things and fantasize about things I want. But anyway, so now we're looking at $332. If I fake this checkout here, we are looking at $332. No tax on it. Great. So something like this is pretty good. So that leaves me about $150 left for a microphone. So let's just say, how can we shop for a microphone? Let's go with a wireless lav. And that connects right into your device, whatever you're recording with. And then that's the receiver, and then your transmitter goes on you. So, I mean, you're not going to get the world's greatest sound from these lavs. This is actually one I highly recommend, is this wireless Rode Go. It's $300. Very easy, very simple to use, effective, and it works. But again, that's going to put us over the budget of $500. And honestly, for that light, you cannot get a light without having that softbox. Period. You cannot have it. Trust me, it'll just look terrible if you just flash that light on there without the softbox. The other thing too is you obviously need to stand. So there is nothing there to compromise. So if we have $150 left, which is not a lot. Honestly, I've never used a lavalier mic that's less than $150, but I know that Sermonic is a pretty decent brand, and it says here that it's made for cell phones. It's going to be better than if you just use your phone's microphone. So there you go. I would go with something like this. Now, the great thing about shopping on Amazon is you have a 30-day return period. So it is something that you can just kind of try and see if it works for you, if it's too complicated, if it's easy, whatever it might be, yeah. So we have here $477. So even if I go into checkout, let's see if we get charged tax on that thing. No, we don't. So $477. So you have 23, 28, 27. I'm the worst at math. You think I'm good at it, not being racist, but I'm terrible at math. So $477, that'll get you a light and a microphone. And then you put your phone on a stand, on a tripod of some kind. Let's just say we go on and say phone desk tripod. All right. Okay, let's see what we got here. We have like $30 left. Boom. $37 there, $18. There you go. $18. We are within the $500 budget. And kablamo, we have a full phone audio lighting kit. And it is easy and simple and basic to use. This right here is probably more than enough for just about everybody. I mean, everybody who isn't doing this on a professional level where someone's paying you to go shoot. This is not gear I would ever bring to a shoot. I mean, maybe the light stand, the light and the light dome. I mean, I've had minor experience with it before, but I mean, it's good. But the problem is that when it malfunctions, and it has malfunctioned when one time I have used it, it makes me really scared to bring that out. So I personally, I wouldn't do it. Apparently there's a cat in my backyard. That is hilarious. There's a cat in my backyard. Anyway, sorry for that distraction. Okay. So we have a light, and this is really it. I mean, you use your phone. If you have a phone that's within 3, I would even say 4 years old, and can shoot basic 1080p, full HD, it's good enough. It's good enough. Something like this is much good enough. This light is going to be very bright, so you want to make sure that when you turn it on, you don't stare at it. You do that with any light. Don't turn it on and right in front of your face and just blind yourself. You don't want to do that. So this is it, $500, and it'll get you the basic kit. Now, you're not going to be able to get a camera and a lens in attachment with all this. I mean, I would say a camera and a lens, you probably need another $500 at least. And in that $500, you won't be getting the best camera. It'd almost not be worth it because your phone, ultimately your phone can do better. It's just being honest, it could do better sometimes. And plus the phone, the good thing about the phone is, like I said, it auto calibrates to whatever the situation is. And because technology is so good nowadays, it will just auto white balance. It will auto expose for you. Now it might shift from time to time. If you have like a window open, like I do kind of behind me, but I have a blacked out curtain, then you're going to see that it will shift. So you want to make sure that wherever you are, that the light source that's hitting you is only whatever's in the house or the light that you have from this list over here. And you want to avoid windows because you're not going to want to have that window go in and out and shoot sunlight bright then dark, because then you're going to start seeing your phone shift. So that's what I highly recommend. For the light, it's really easy. You either shoot it right in front of you, top down, not too high, but more like kind of forehead level, kind of looking towards you like this. If you just want more of a flat look, just kind of a flat face, for most people that does the job. Or you kind of do it on a 45-degree angle, which is what I recommend. You do a 45-degree angle and you get a little bit more shape in your face, because then it shadows off a little bit on the other side. But you don't really need more on this if you're just doing that. Like I said, this is for the solo content creator, somebody who is just doing it at home and just kind of starting it off. When it comes to getting to the next level, to me, it either goes from here and then it jumps up to someone who you're going to have to start spending in the 4 figures. So you're going to have to go above $1,000 up to $2,000. And even in that, it's like you kind of get to a level where you're more of an advanced solo creator. So in other words, you'll be able to get gear that serves you to almost look to almost up your production value at home. But it isn't something that you can start going out and start selling yourself out as a freelance videographer with just a $2,000 kit. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm just saying that you can get yourself in a lot of trouble, because honestly, in the real world, in the actual industry, reliability, efficiency, and consistency are the three main things that clients want from you. When they're paying you this type of money, all those three things are the most key important things. Above even, I would say, your actual quality. Of course, you have to deliver your visual quality, you have to deliver your audio quality, but at the end of the day, those are the three things that are most important in the actual industry. And unfortunately, when you spend this little amount of money, you're going to run into malfunctions, you're going to run into limitations for the most part, and you're going to run into inefficiencies, and those things would end up costing you. So if you were to go up to the next level, my highest recommendation, especially when it comes to camera work, is to actually start shopping on Kijiji. To be honest, I mean, that's the best thing. And there are different, like the camera that you can get is completely up to you. And if I were to go through every single camera, we'll be here all day long. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to kind of advance to you or tell you the camera that I know works, at least that I've worked with before, and that is the Panasonic GH4. Now, this is more of a, it was really, really popular when it came out, but I mean, this is more right here. See, you get a whole kit for $1,400, but you can buy the actual camera just for $550. Now, that's $500 for the camera. You got to buy the lens, right? And honestly, for a lens, and a lot of these people, you can kind of negotiate with them. So you could probably get it for $500 or maybe even a little less. But most of these people, like, you're going to have to get a lens and you're going to have to get batteries. So if you're going to go in and get a lens, personally, like, again, you go on here and I would say something like a Canon 24 to 105, right? It's a really classic. This is what I started off with, a Canon 21 to 105. That's a little overpriced, though. I've got to say, that's insane. Okay, even this one right here. There you go. I mean, what is this guy thinking? Jesus, $1,250. Come on, this guy's ridiculous. So right here, $595. So $595, you could probably try to talk him down to $500 or $450 or whatever you can possibly talk him down to. And right there in $1,000, you got a little bit of camera package. But the thing is, it's understanding that there's certain lenses that go on certain bodies, and unfortunately this lens does not go on the body of the Panasonic GH4, so you're going to need an adapter. An adapter, that one I would recommend that you go through Amazon for that, because it is not something that, you know, I don't trust used people when it comes to something this small and fragile. And it's just right here. This is the Micro Four Thirds one to Canon EF right here. Yeah. So this right here, $200, right? So you have $200, $500, let's say, estimated for both the glass and the lens. I mean, when I say glass, I mean the lens and the camera body. So now you're looking at $1,200 addition, and you're gonna get great quality. Like, now we're talking like we're upping the quality even more. Can you go out there and shoot with it and do certain things? Maybe you can, you know, put it on a simple YouTube video type of thing, kind of like what you're doing at home for somebody else, and maybe make a little bit of money off of it. But ultimately, this is a pretty old setup now. It's probably reaching about a decade old, and it's not something, I wouldn't say a decade, maybe more like 6-7 years. I'm not too sure, but it's something like that. And it's not, you know, it for what it does, for what you do, this could be everything that you need. That's if you want to add a camera to it. So if you add into $500 plus this, what I worked it out to, $1,200 plus tax, so about $1,400. Now you're looking at about $2,000, and you have a full light, audio, camera care, and everything kit. So this will pretty much replace your phone. Now, there is something to keep in mind. I know that $1,500 sounds like a lot, but keep in mind how much you're paying for a cell phone. If you're looking at the price of, let's say, the newest Apple, and I know Apple's expensive, but we know Samsung and all that's about the same, right? I mean, maybe it's a little less, but it's generally about the same, right? So if you look at the iPhone here, let's see, iPhone Pro, right? Because you're looking at pro quality, whatever. Buy. Right? And with the iPhone, it doesn't really, you know, you're going to have to buy, well, some people buy warranties, but you're going to have to buy cases and all that kind of stuff, whatever it is that you want with it. But this is only monthly. Okay. Well, I don't know. I guess they don't sell it as full priced anymore. Okay, but anyway, you guys know that iPhones, when they come out, they're about $1,500 anyway. So I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, you get a phone with it, but you already have a phone. So it was one of those things where you got to make a choice. Like, is the phone worth it, or is it better just to get a camera? At the end of the day, your TV costs just as much as the camera. Do you really need a new TV, or would you rather use a camera to create? So I mean, at the end of the day, it's all relative to what you do. And the thing is, like, a phone is really ultimately, it's a driving force for everyone's business, but it's something that everyone already has. It's not something you need necessarily to upgrade. So it's one of those things where you can get a camera and a lens instead of buying a brand new phone. Just use the phone that you have in your hand, right? So I mean, that's something to keep in mind. So like, you're looking at about $2,000. Now, if you're gonna go on to about the higher end stuff, and you want to become a professional, say you're already at that advanced solo creator and you want to start providing services. From there, I would say that you would already have to do your research and know what exactly are you getting into? What do you need? What are you shooting? And depending on what you're shooting will determine what you buy. And at that point, if you can't make your own research, just being straight with you, if you can't find your own research and you don't know how to research what you need at that point, then I don't think you're ready to go on and provide your services yet. That's just the truth. At that point, if you're going to go and you want to be professional and you want people to start paying you, do the right thing, do your homework. Do your homework, know your shit, period. Just saying. So if you're at that point, there's so many things you can get. You would need a professional shotgun microphone, depending on if you are, running, gunning, or, you're booming, or I don't know, whatever it is you're doing. I would recommend an external recorder of some kind so that you're not plugging into your camera, you're recording into a more professional sound. I would say get more lights, at least 3. So if you're, it doesn't matter what kind of lights, whether they're panel lights, whether they're COB lights, whether they're quasars, it doesn't matter what they are. You decide, again, how you determine your look and what you want to do. And you got to buy at least 3 lights, I think, so that you can light interviews and things like that, because chances are that's probably what you're going to start off doing. Stabilizer is not necessary, but it is if you're going to go into something like weddings or music videos. You're going to need a stabilizer. You're going to need more than one lens, that is for sure. You cannot just do one lens and keep the same look. You're going to have to do more than one lens. You're going to need memory. You're going to need batteries. You're going to need a computer. You're going to need a lot of things that go into making things efficient and consistent for your clients. You don't want to be that guy who says no. You never want to put yourself in a position where you go into a shoot and you can't do it and you're forced to say no. It's the worst feeling in the world, right? You want to service the best that you possibly can, period. The best that you possibly can. Okay, cool. So, I mean, that's just to cover the lower budget solo creator. For beginner solo creator for $500, I show you what you can get and just use your phone. And then also with the 2000, which is more like the advanced solo creator, and what you can do with that. So we covered that. And if you're pro, we can go into that. That's a whole other segment, but there's so much things to dig into, like in terms of what audio gear I use, what kind of light gear I rolled with, and all that kind of stuff. And then the reason why I know all this is because I'm pretty much a gearhead. I mean, anyway, we're not gonna get into that. All right. So the other thing that you're gonna want to keep in mind, if you're gonna get into this, you need to make sure that your computer can handle the edit. So you don't want to go and shoot 4K, even though the Panasonic GH4 can shoot 4K. You don't want to go and just shoot 4K because trust me, your actual computer probably won't be able to edit it. It's going to struggle unless you have a powerful computer already. So I would highly recommend that you go and you find a decent computer, a decent laptop. You don't have to go all the way to the top. Like I have the latest MacBook Pro of last year, but you don't need to go to the latest model. The best thing for you to do is really honestly, like, I could tell you what to get, but like it might not work for what you do, right? There's so many different things. Like, you could probably go lower. Yeah, to be honest, you should probably go, you can probably edit on the latest iPad. You probably could. You could probably go with like a MacBook Air. I don't know, but I haven't used the MacBook Air. So it's hard for me to kind of sit there and be definitive about what computer would work for you, because I can only tell you what I have. And what I have, I know works, because this is what I do for a living. So I have to make sure it works, but it's expensive, right? So it's something that, I would say you look into, and YouTube is your best friend. When you look at YouTube and be like, look for a laptop that can edit, 1080p or 4K footage under $1,000, something like that. And it is something that's gonna be worth it, because believe me, it doesn't matter how great stuff you shoot, it's amazing, blah blah blah, but when you put it in the computer and you can't edit it, and it gives you a headache just to put it together, it's not gonna be fun anymore. So and it's gonna be a big pain in the ass. It's just gonna take you a lot of time. So I highly recommend that you get enough computer. The other thing too is to also keep in mind the batteries. So you got to make sure that you have enough batteries. Okay, the batteries, I don't know, on different cameras last a certain length, but you're gonna have to research that. I think the GH4 lasts about, I would want to say, about 45 minutes to an hour. I could be wrong. It's been a long time since I've used it. And some of them only last like 30 minutes. So it's something that you want to keep in mind. You can get things like dummy batteries. Like, if I can search it up here, if GH4 dummy battery, which plugs into a wall. It is, right here. I think this one is GH4, Lumix GH4. Yep. So you can get something like this. So this right here goes into your battery slot, and then you plug it into the adapter, and then the adapter goes into a wall. Now, that's something you have to be careful of. It's $30, which is good. It saves you money from buying actual batteries, especially if you're not going to go run with it and do other stuff with it. You can always do that. But I mean, there could be power voltage problems. There could be a lot of, I've had a shoot where I plugged one of these things in before, and I have the GH5, which is the year after, which I highly recommend if you have more money to get the GH5. You can plug this into, I've had it before where I plugged into a wall, and all of a sudden it just zapped, like my camera just turned off, and it scared the crap out of me because I thought it blew up my camera. So it is something you got to keep in mind. These are cheap items. Okay? And when you go with cheap items, you are playing the risky game. For some, it will work. And when it works, it's great because you save so much money, and you got something that ultimately does what the expensive stuff does. But when it goes down, you pay for it. Okay, you pay for it. So it is something that you have to make the decision whether or not this is worth it, right? But overall, GH4 batteries, I mean, they're pretty cheap. I would say usually when you buy one, I mean, if you buy it used, you're gonna have to hope that the guy has a battery. If you buy it new, which you can't anymore, GH4 is discontinued, but when you buy any camera new, it'll come with one battery usually. But I would recommend that when you go and you buy batteries, you just buy the cheapest Amazon batteries here, third-party batteries. They're going to be in a range from 17 to 40 to whatever, and they usually, some of them come with chargers. The actual official one is 86, so that can get pretty pricey if you buy too many of those. I've used Amazon. These batteries are safe to plug in, but the ones that plug into a wall, that's where I get scared, because I'm not an electrician. I don't know much about that. So I just try to be conservative with how many things go into plugs into one outlet at a time. But I mean, you never know. These things can short, these things can fuck up. Like, get surge protectors to be safe, in case like power outages happen. You want to protect your investment. Believe me, you don't want to mess with that. So this is something to keep in mind. When it comes to lights though, and the other stuff that you see, I'm pretty sure these lavaliers take about AA batteries, and then the actual light itself goes right into the wall, has a plug. It doesn't run off batteries. So, I mean, that's ultimately it. I mean, at the end of the day, one thing that I was actually going to discuss was, and this is, I guess, more so for the advanced people who know a little bit more about tech, is just be careful with the marketing. I mean, you go out there, you're going to see, oh man, like there's 8K cameras and things like that coming out, and 4K that can shoot 120 frames and can shoot this and can do that. This is the thing when you get into buying cameras, okay? And this is now, I guess I'm addressing more of the advanced users here. In the 3 years that I've done this professionally, barely 1% of the clientele have asked me for 4K. Nobody cares about 4K. That's just the honest truth. Okay? If you're going to do it, it's not because it's necessarily the quality it brings, maybe, but for the most part, it's maybe because they're going to source it out to an editor and they want a little bit more leeway to kind of play with punching in and out of the footage. But if you're shooting for web, which is mostly what most videographers get, they get jobs that shoot for web. 4K it's not even a thing yet. I mean, yeah, you can go on Netflix. Oh, they sell 4K, or, you know, you can buy 4K package, you watch stuff in 4K. You can go on YouTube, videos are in 4K. Yeah, great. It's all compressed 4K. It's not even real 4K. So it's like, it's not really that important when you look at all the marketing and all the glamour and the glitz and glamour of all these cameras coming out, and it could do this and it could do that, it could do 4K. I'm telling you, almost everybody that I work with is only cared about 1080p. And to be honest, so many people can't even tell the difference between 4K and 1080p. A trained eye can tell pretty easily, but even they can get tricked sometimes as to what's 4K and what's 1080p. Now, if you were watching a video and that video said, can you tell if it's 1080p or 4K? That alone will make you trigger and think, oh wait, let me look for it, let me see it. But if the video never ever mentioned anything about doing a comparison and just put it out there, you probably won't be able to tell if it's 1080p or 4K. If the camera operator is good, if whoever is producing it is actually good at what they do, you won't be able to tell. And that kind of goes into this whole realm about 8K coming in. 6K barely touched the market before 8K just suddenly flew in. And with like something like the Canon R5 coming out, the 8K coming out into the market and changing the game. Now, I don't want to bash these cameras. Honestly, I love the fact that these cameras are advancing. I love the fact that Canon's coming out with an R5 that is going to change the game, because it's going to help every other camera manufacturer up their standards, and that means more tools for us to tell our stories. But the thing is with 8K is that, honestly, why do you even need 8K? Are you really gonna punch in that much? Do you really need, what is that? I don't even know how many times punching that is. That like 8 times punching for what? For literally what? Just get your composition semi-correct and shoot in 4K, and you can punch in however you want. Honestly, if you need 8K to punch in, I don't know what to tell you. If you're gonna do it for stuff like green screen and you're gonna do it for special effects, that's a different story because you get more resolution. I mean, that makes sense. But the price that comes with it, is that really worth it? If you're shooting a high enough codec like ProRes 444, and you can shoot RAW in 4K, do you really need more than that for whatever special effects you're doing? And the thing is, I feel like 8K kind of lands in no man's land. Even 6K kind of lands in no man's land. It's kind of like in that area where it's not quite for the person who's starting out, or even the active videographer like me who needs 8K. It's not really for those people. Well, what's the purpose of that? Like, I don't think I'm ever gonna need it, let alone 4K 120. But I mean, you put 8K in there, I mean, it's not quite for those people. It's not quite. And at the same time, if you look at 8K and people that actually produce 8K stuff, I mean, you're talking high-end productions, commercials, documentaries, but high-end with millions and millions of dollars in budget, with lots and lots of crew. They're not going to be using the R5. They're not going to be using your 8K mirrorless camera, period. So it doesn't make any sense to get it. It lands in no man's land. It's almost like just for the people who say they have it, or it's for the videographer to think that maybe 8K can give them an advantage in the market compared to everyone else. Oh, hey, I could do 8K, you know, and you got to market that pretty heavily on that, because trust me, people don't care. And it's like, It lands in no man's land. Who's it for? Ultimately, who is it for? And to me, I think it's ideal. If I were just to say anything, because I'm not bashing it. The thing is, I think the camera's great. I mean, I would love to get something into that, but just to get into that family, that whole ecosystem again, because I'm in Blackmagic, so go into the ecosystem of 8K, it just costs too much money, and especially with a brand new lens setup and a brand new sensor. It's just like the whole RF thing doesn't fit EF. There's no adapters that can adapt RF, and it's not yet, at least. And it's like, then these lenses are like $2,000 a piece. I'm gonna buy a new lens kit. Like, why am I gonna do that? I'm already have micro four thirds and EF. I'm not gonna go do that. But if I were to say that this is for anybody, I'd say, I think any type of high resolution, even 4K, I think is great for people who do documentary work, because it just allows you got to be quick, you got to be fast, you got to be on your feet, and it will allow you to punch in and stabilize footage better, especially if you have something like the Pocket or the Ursa like I have, like it doesn't have stabilization in it. So it'd be great for that. Now the R5 does, so that's great. But again, it's something that like I could only see the benefit in someone like that doing 8K. Do you know how expensive 8K is going to be just to record it? Do you know how expensive it is going to be just to upgrade your computer? That would mean that if 4K can barely, if MacBook Pro can barely handle 4K properly, let alone 6K, and you're putting an 8K Canon log raw on there, and it struggles, you're back to square one with your editing software. Or your computer. You're back to square one. You're thinking like, all right, now I got to get a computer that can edit 8K. Well, there's another $5,000. At least right now, that's how much a MacBook Pro costs, $5,000. So if they make the next one that can edit 8K, well, you're spending $5,000. Especially if you're in the Apple ecosystem, which a lot of people are. A lot of people in this industry are in the Apple ecosystem. So you're going to probably want to stick in the Apple ecosystem. So you're going to have to buy the laptop that's $5,000. Now, you're looking at $5,000 on a new laptop. You're looking at probably a good $6,000 to $8,000 worth of lenses. And then the camera body is going to probably be $5,000 for the camera body. I don't know how the batteries are going to go. I don't know what batteries they use. Maybe you would know, but I don't know. But whatever batteries cost. And then if you want to really look at this, we're going to look at the CF Express, because this is what it's going to take to shoot 8K, right? Here, we'll go with the Pro because you're doing 8K, right? 512 gigs is $844 for 500 gigs. That's not going to get you through a whole day of shooting. If you're a documentary shooter, you need a crap ton of those. So you're looking at three cards. Let's say you get 3 cards, right? You're looking at $2,500 in memory cards. You're investing close to $20,000, if not probably tip the $20,000 mark, into a new 8K system that nobody cares about, that nobody has a display to display it, that you won't ever need. And you're going to have to market the shit out of 8K just so you can say you have the advantage over everybody else because you're the only one who can do it. But I would challenge anybody to tell me what actually needs, not wants, what actually needs 8K. I don't know. But again, I'm not bashing this camera, okay? I think it's amazing, and I love the fact that it's coming out. And I love the fact that it's available and accessible to us, the people who are not super rich Hollywood cinematographers and work for studios like that. People who are, freelancers and contractors and videographers just in their local cities, right? I think it's great to have it available. I think it's something that if you can rent it, sure, rent it. I think it's a great rental. It's just kind of like cinema cameras. I don't believe necessarily that you should be spending $20,000, $30,000 on a cinema camera. I think you should be renting them if you're going to use them. That's just my opinion, though. I mean, it's, to each their own. But to this 8K, I mean, come on. Like, I'm seeing a lot of hype around it. It deserves the hype. Because it is a revolutionary, game-changing technology at a crazy price point. I know the price isn't out yet, but we're assuming that it's going to be at the $5,000 mark Canadian, price point. That's amazing. Ultimately, for active videographers, that's affordable. It's high and expensive, but it's affordable. And I think it's something that is, like I love it, but it's just I think people are getting a little too over the top with it, saying, now the 6K, the Pocket 6K is obsolete, or the Pocket 4K is obsolete. What I think this is great is that it will, in a way, drive the value of those cameras down. So you can probably wait for this to come out, which I think is probably sometime in the summer or later this year. And you're going to get great deals on the current mirrorless cameras, because now everyone's going to have to catch up. Like I said, it raises the standard for everybody else. So now everybody is going to want to kind of catch up to the RF. They're going to, Blackmagic's probably going to come up with an 8K camera. Panasonic's probably going to come up with an 8K camera. Things like that. But it's going to up people's game. And I think that's great overall for the industry. I think that's great. But just another thing to keep in mind is, Canon just released 2 of their new cinema cameras in 500 Mark II, and the C300 Mark III, and both of those look freaking fantastic. But from my understanding, I just want to make sure I got this right. Okay, so we're gonna go into right there. So we're gonna go into the Mark II 5.9K. It's a 6K camera. Okay, this is a 6K camera. It's not even 8K. When you're looking at the C300, the C300 is only 4.6K or something like that, or 4K camera. It's not even. Nothing's touching 8K. So when their cinema line is getting into is not even touching 8K, that should tell you. I mean, these cameras are supposed to last you for a long freaking time. These are supposed to be it's the price of a car. So it's going to last you as long as a car. That's how it's supposed to last, right? And so when you get into something like this, it's kind of telling you what they're, what the market is. The 8K, selling 8K in the prosumer market, but not in the actual professional market. To me, that speaks volumes. That tells me that 8K is just not a thing when it comes to, this type of level of production. There's no way that the RF is going to be better than these cameras. I think 8K is added in there for marketing purposes, because you put 8K, people want to buy it. It's the latest, greatest thing in camera technology. But honestly, when you get to, from what I hear, and speaking to professionals that I know, when you get to the high end stuff, to the point where 8K might find some value, they're already dominated by the same cameras. It's the same thing. They use the same things that they always use. They're not going to go and suddenly get an RF and put an 8K RF in their production to replace the Alexa Mini. They're not going to go in and take the RF and replace their red cameras that they use. They're not going to do it. Okay? It's up there. They use the same cameras. They rent the same stuff. So you're not going to see the HMIs get replaced by aperture lights. Okay? You're not going to get, you know what I mean? You get the point. This is to me, it's marketing brilliance, but it's really catching, I think, into no man's land. I don't think anybody needs it. I don't think anybody actually needs it. Now, if you get it, cool. Let me borrow it. I'd like to play with it. So we just covered a lot today. I'm just gonna let you know, that I'm kind of doing this on a whim, kind of random on my content. I have a lot of content that I recorded, just not releasing them. I think, I don't know, I'm just not releasing them. I'm not comfortable releasing all of them. I think there's stuff that is just kind of like, some stuff that's kind of a little bit more on the personal side, and then there's stuff that are more on the technical side, and it's just kind of things that, like, I don't know, if it doesn't gather enough interest for it, then it's kind of like, I don't know why I'm doing it, just to be frank. But yeah, so this is hopefully this helped. Hopefully this kind of gave you an idea. $500 range, $2,000 range and above, and help you make your decisions. So the cat's gone. That's a shame. Peace.